President Donald J. Trump yesterday, he went to the Fulton County jailhouse where he was arrested. He was fingerprinted. They took his picture. The mugshot is now out. It's destined to be the most famous mugshot, certainly in the history of humanity. I will say that it is a win for Trump to have his mugshot taken. I know it was supposed to be some sort of big win for the left. They finally got him. And the mugshot of Trump, again, it is such a big, I have to say, it's just a giant imagistic win for him because this is a pitch perfect thing. I mean, just from a theatrical perspective, the mugshot of Donald Trump for Trump's purposes is pitch perfect.
Hello, everyone, once again from the dystopian capitalist hellhole of the UK. And today we're talking about a moment we were all waiting for, and that is Donald Trump's mugshot because of his arrest in Georgia. Now, this is, of course, like the top news story around the world. There's been loads of memes about it. But what I find especially funny is just the conservative cope about this. And what is actually so funny about the conservative movement is at the moment, you're seeing a split with people who like hate Donald Trump, right? Like Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, the Daily Wire crew. They love Ron DeSantis and they want Ron DeSantis to be president over Donald Trump. But they still have to pretend to like Donald Trump in some way. So the first time we have a former US president getting like a criminal mugshot, and all these people have to pretend it's a good thing. They have to pretend like it's actually Joe Biden going after Donald Trump. Like, Joe Biden has mobilized the whole deep state against him. Donald Trump could have never done anything illegal. And once Donald Trump has his picture, it's great for him. And actually, it will help him in the election. It will help Donald Trump win. A mugshot will help Donald Trump win. And what these people obviously fail to understand is Trumpian candidates have been doing worse and worse as he's left office. And while a lot of Trump supporters might love this mugshot, do they not realize that elections are often decided by people who don't have much like political affiliation to either party? And people who generally still believe in, like, I guess, institutions in some way, in that, yeah, if you have a mugshot, you've probably broken the law and done something bad, right? Like, lots of people still believe that, who are on the fence about who to vote for. When they see Donald Trump with a mugshot, and they read about why, and they read about all, like, his cronies also having mugshots, and basically him running, like, his own mafia family, then I don't think they're going to be very convinced by Donald Trump's arguments. And yeah, Donald Trump does have this image he's created for himself as being, like, anti-elite. But the only elite that really hate him are, like, the establishment Republican Party. The financial elite really don't hate him. He's an idiot. He always does what they want anyway. So it's pretty laughable people think he's being, like, persecuted for basically no reason. Persecuted for simply saying, you know, I don't think the election was fair, which is total BS, and we're going to get into the news story because at his direction, he's broken the law, and then so many people have broken the law in his service trying to basically steal the 2020 election. And while hardcore Trump supporters are coping a lot, some conservatives are basically saying, like, come on, like, we have to drop him now. No one's going to vote for this, and Biden's just going to win again. I'm still not completely sure about that, but I want to talk about all of this reaction today because it's absolutely unhinged. And I was actually thinking recently about Donald Trump, and I was like, am I actually angry at him? Like, do I hate Donald Trump? And I do hate what he did when he was president. But to me, he's just such a symptom of the American system and just capitalism in general, in that he's even tolerated. And I guess with the American political landscape, the reason he's elevated to that of like a god for some people is because of the evangelical stuff that see him as a guy who's going to like usher in the second coming. Like, there's so much crazy Christianity around this guy, even though they admit like he's flawed, probably not a real Christian, they still love him. And I just find it so bizarre, and I guess I'll share my thoughts later on. But before we go any further, please like the video. Let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments. Please let me know what is the most insane spin you've seen on him getting arrested. Mainly conservatives saying it's a good thing, and the mugshot will help him win the presidential election, which I think is really bizarre. Also, follow me on social media at the Kavernacle, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Blue Sky, on Threads. Also, check out the Patreon. I'm trying to build up as many $1 to $3 patrons as possible. Benefits include access to the Discord server, give me a message when you've joined and want access to that, also access to my old exclusive content, and access to my Nintendo Switch friend code, and also check out my second channel, and check out my subreddit. All of that stuff down in the description. So of course Donald Trump has been facing lots of legal battles pretty much since he ever entered politics. The guy is clearly just a criminal. Like, it's just so funny. He just reminds me of like a New Jersey mobster. The way he operates, the way he has people go down for him. Like in the past, Michael Cohen obviously took the fall for their old scams. And it's just crazy. Like, he's just a symbol of how really rich people in America can get away with absolutely everything. Like paying basically zero income tax, using charities to scam people. If you reach the upper echelons of like American capitalist society, the only consequences you'll ever face for stuff is basically paying a fine, right? It's just you pay a fine for doing bad things, and usually it's worth it because you've made loads of money, and you've made more money than the fine that you will eventually pay. I guess that's why so many people love the mugshot, because it's like, finally, some rich person might face some sort of accountability for breaking the law. And I know Resistance Libs, and I'm still with her, liberals are loving this. Let's be honest, most presidents should be in prison as well. Like Donald Trump, yes, should be in prison for what he's done in and out of office. But Clinton, Obama, Biden, Bush, Reagan, they should have all seen time in prison. And who knows, Reagan might have if he wasn't so like mentally deteriorating when they started investigating Iran-Contra. So a lot of you might not follow like American electoral politics, so I'm just going to give you a simple breakdown of what Donald Trump has done and what his cronies have also been charged with, because if you just go on social media and you don't follow US politics, the way people are framing this, you'd think he's literally done nothing wrong. Like, he literally just said, I don't agree with the results of the election, which he's done a lot more than that. So BBC wrote an article about this. So, historic Trump mugshot released after arrest in Atlanta, Georgia. He surrendered in Georgia on charges of plotting to overturn the state's 2020 election results. Afterwards, he described the case as a travesty of justice. It was his fourth arrest in 5 months in a criminal case, but this was his first police booking photo. Trump later posted on Twitter for the first time since Jan 2021 and shared the address of his website and the mugshot with an all capital letters caption saying election interference, never surrender. Probably one of the most hilarious things is records posted on the jail's website describe Donald Trump as 6'3", weighing 215 pounds, which is really funny as a guy myself who's 6'2", and 185 pounds. I wonder if I put on 30 pounds, I'd get a bussy as big as Donald Trump's. So Mr. Trump was charged last week alongside 18 co-defendants with meddling in Georgia's election results following his loss to Biden by fewer than 12,000 votes in the state. The former president was heard in a phone call pressuring Georgia's top election official to find 11,780 votes during the ballot count. Among the 13 charges Trump faces are racketeering, soliciting a public official to violate his oath of office, conspiracy to impersonate a public officer, conspiracy to commit forgery, and making false statements. And he denies all of these counts, of course. Each of his 18 alleged co-conspirators have been booked at the Fulton County Jail in recent days, ahead of a Friday deadline set by prosecutors. And this is funny because it seems like he broke bail straight away. One of the conditions of Trump's bail is that he refrain from any comments on social media or otherwise that are intended to intimidate witnesses or co-defendants. He is also not allowed to have any communication with other co-defendants except through his lawyers. And we know he's probably basically broke all of these, but they're not gonna, go and arrest Donald Trump and stick him in the jail. So other people obviously were charged this week, including Rudy Giuliani, who led legal challenges to dispute the outcome of the elections and is accused of making numerous false statements about election fraud, including claims that errors had been made by the Dominion vote counting machines. And he faces 13 charges, more than any of the co-accused except for Trump. John Eastman, who was a lawyer for Trump. In Georgia, he's alleged to be part of the plot to urge state senators to disregard the election results and appoint fake electors. Sidney Powell, another Trump attorney, and a vocal promoter of the false fraud claims. Mark Meadows, who was Trump's chief of staff, is alleged to have tried to pressure a chief investigator to speed up signature verification in Fulton County and to have been involved in a phone call in which Trump tried to persuade Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger to find enough votes to overturn Joe Biden's victory in the state. So look, I've been following obviously this because, you know, I like my American politics, but there's literally like audio evidence of Donald Trump saying this stuff. It's extremely incriminating. And anyone who listens to that and thinks Donald Trump is being persecuted by the deep state because they're scared he'll win another election is delusional. But honestly, at this point, I don't even think most people supporting Donald Trump, even though he's been arrested and booked and stuff, I don't even think they know what he's charged with. Like, I genuinely don't think they've listened to those audio tapes of him actually pressuring the Georgia election officials to try and overturn the election. I don't even think they understand like what the case is in the first place. What they think is Joe Biden is scared and he's trying to arrest Donald Trump for saying the election was fake. Like, they just think it's that. They don't think he said that and then got his entire like political team and legal team to pressure people in the state to overturn the election itself, right? That's why he's being charged. Not just because he said stuff, because he said a ton of stuff throughout his life, which could probably be classed as libel or illegal, but it's because these people actually acted on it. And there's loads of evidence that he did pressure these people. So yeah, a rare time in American legal history where someone insanely wealthy and someone really powerful, like an ex-president billionaire, might face some consequences, at the very least actually had to face, I guess, the normal process of going in and, getting your mugshot taken. But anyway, like I said, conservatives are coping, trying to spin this as a good thing. Elon Musk himself, the king of the fascists on X or Twitter, quote tweeted Donald Trump posting his mugshot on Twitter saying, "Next level." But he's also been promoting Trump a lot lately with his interview of Tucker. It's pretty clear Elon Musk is doing this both to pander to his right-wing fans, but also to try and make Twitter seem more relevant than it is. So I want to talk about, the fanatical Trump supporters, but I just want to talk about some of the people who don't like Donald Trump. Ben Shapiro is one of them. And he writes this: "It's the most photographed person on earth. The mugshot was completely unnecessary and vindictive, of course, but it's going to backfire dramatically since this image is instantly iconic," right? So, yeah, for a lot of Trump loyalists, they might like that photo. Oh, Donald Trump is so badass. He's actually been arrested for how great he is or how, much of a threat he is to the establishment. But like I said, to your average Joe, who doesn't really follow politics that much, maybe, and doesn't have any party allegiance, they just see Donald Trump finally being, arrested and charged with something and having a mugshot, right? I don't think that works well in his favor, to be honest, because Donald Trump already is insanely polarizing. One of the few political figures who actually draws people out to vote against him, right? That doesn't always happen, but people hate Donald Trump so much they will do this because of, loads of reasons, and they've just given another reason to not vote for him. And then you have his picture, which everyone on earth is basically going to see, and yeah, they're going to associate Donald Trump with being a criminal. And yeah, in your conservative bubble, you probably think that's awesome, and he's standing up to the deep state. But trust me, a lot of people just see that and be like, oh, I guess he has broken the law then, right? I don't think it's, a good thing. But Ben Shapiro, in a video today, was also kind of insisting this is a good thing for Donald Trump. So let's listen to this for a bit.
It is a win for Trump to have his mugshot taken. I know it was supposed to be some sort of big win for the left. They finally got him. Trump is a meme. He is a walking, living, breathing meme. Everything he does is memeable. He is made for TV. He is made for the internet. He has changed our age because of that. And the mugshot of Trump, again, it is such a big, I have to say, it's just a giant imagistic win for him because we know that he was going to be arrested. It's not as though no one knew he was arrested. It's not as though it was a shock dawning on the American people that Donald Trump is under indictment in 4 separate jurisdictions. We've known about all of this for months. What the mugshot does, especially this particular mugshot, is it gives Trump the appearance of somebody who is bravely standing up to forces that are going after him. And again, his image here actually conveys all of that because Donald Trump is phenomenal on camera. This is a pitch perfect thing. I mean, just from a theatrical perspective, the mugshot of Donald Trump for Trump's purposes is pitch perfect. He doesn't look as though he's afraid or concerned or anxious. He doesn't even look, I would say, angry. He looks determined, right? I mean, that is the goal here, is to look as though he is the face of doom coming for his enemies. Reason why he's already trotting it out on the t-shirts. The cash machines at the Trump headquarters are going to just be going nonstop today.
Even the way he's framing that is kind of like, I don't necessarily agree with this, but for Donald Trump, it's good, right? Because like I said, he hates Donald Trump. He was a never Trumper before Donald Trump won, then turned into like a Donald Trump fan. And now, obviously, a lot of them have thrown Trump out because they prefer DeSantis. And now he's trying to be like, well, I know a lot of my audience love Donald Trump, so please don't hate me. Conservatives like Ben Shapiro are all about like respectability, civility, the rule of law. So, breaking the law is great now. You guys love cops, don't you? You guys love conservative lawyers and judges and stuff, and a lot of conservative actual judges have been involved in these cases. So are you now telling me that the rule of law is bad and we should break the law maybe because it's cool and it suits our purposes? Like, should I go break the law because it'll make me look cooler and more anti-establishment or something? Just no consistency in their message, especially for someone like that who actually doesn't support Donald Trump and is not coming out and saying, yeah, Donald Trump's 100% right and he's innocent. He's not saying that. But like I said, he's saying, oh my God, everyone, if you like Donald Trump, you can still like me because I think it's good for his image. But yeah, in another video, I'll go on about like how Hunter Biden potentially doing illegal stuff makes Joe Biden the most corrupt president of all time and stuff. Again, no consistency here. And now let's move on a bit further because let's get into the Trump supporters, Trump crime syndicate reaction. So Donald Trump Jr., of course, tweeting out their new merch, which Ben Shapiro, I think, mentioned, saying, free Trump merch, to be clear, all profits from this web store are going to be donated to the Legal Defense Fund to fight the tyranny and insanity we're seeing before us. Why does Donald Trump, if he's a billionaire, need to sell merch to fund his legal defense? Like, let's say it's in the millions, right? Apparently he has billions. He owns loads of real estate. He owns loads of stuff. Why do you need to sell terrible t-shirts? Like with many things to do with Donald Trump is probably like a scam. I bet none of this is going to his legal defense. Like those NFT trading cards or something. Like, come on, it's just a scam. So now let's move on to more anti-SJW YouTubers. Let's talk about Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers. I actually feel bad for parents of teenage boys because you don't know what they're watching on YouTube and they could be watching anti-SJW like nerd content and it's run by like absolute far-right lunatics like this guy. So he even changed his profile picture straight away to Donald Trump's mugshot. And I've spoken with a few people who knew about Geeks and Gamers in its like early days, like years ago. And they said, although Jeremy used to be all right to them, he was always like an absolute insane Trump supporter. Like he's always been this way. And just going through his Twitter is so funny. Like the cope is so funny, acting like it's a good thing. Trump returning to Twitter X just reminded every Hollywood nutjob that he's more popular and loved than every single one of them. And it's not even close. You love to see it. Him posting a meme under Elon Musk tweeting about it. Sacrifice his family's wealth for our nation. Sacrificed our nation for his family's wealth. Like, again, can you imagine being this person? Like, I hate all these people in this photo. But can you imagine thinking, even if you genuinely believe Bidens have used their position in government to enrich themselves, that Donald Trump's family didn't do this? Jared Kushner just got paid billions by the Saudi investment fund after the Trump administration, Kushner, and the Saudi royal family were totally in bed together, right? Donald Trump and the Israelis as well. Like, Donald Trump basically used the presidency as one massive marketing, like, tool. Or posting, like, a laser eyes meme. Donald Trump is the baddest man on the planet. Dude goes hard in the paint. It's over. President Trump returns in 2024. He's back. MAGA King. Retweeting someone called Razorfist saying, and on that day, they turned Trump into an outlaw without considering for even a second that America loves the fuck out of outlaws. D-Day Cobra also posting, they just guaranteed Trump will be president again. Trump 2024. Retweeting Donald Trump Jr. saying, hey, deep state, he's coming for you. See you on Jan 20th, 2025. So again, if you're in this conservative Trumpist world, you might think this is awesome because you genuinely believe Donald Trump is a fighter against the deep state. Like, you cannot handle the fact that Donald Trump has always been part of the economic elite of America. Just because he's not been part of the Republican establishment doesn't make him some sort of outsider. What's the only domestic thing he did as president? Massive tax cuts for the most wealthy people in America? Like, how is he a fighter against the elite? He basically went along with the foreign policy of previous governments. He appointed neocons from the Bush era into like every high-ranking position, sometimes paid lip service to be an anti-intervention, But in the background, either he was unaware or he just ordered it to happen. He just carried on US imperialism abroad. Him saying like he won't fund Ukraine and stuff. I guarantee if Donald Trump was president when the war started, he would fund Ukraine as well. I know we had all that stuff with Hunter Biden and Zelensky in his presidency as well, but I guarantee if you have people like John Bolton, Mike Pompeo, loads of neocons running your foreign policy department, they're going to back Ukraine against Russia, and they're probably going to convince Donald Trump to do it. So again, I do not understand his reputation as anti-establishment at all. And it's just something that keeps getting parroted by Republicans and even like libertarians and some, crazy far-right nuts bowl types, like these weird communists who like Donald Trump, like MAGA communism, who think he's anti-establishment. Billionaire, criminal, con artist scammers who are president aren't anti-establishment. Let's just get that clear right now. Now, if we just go on to Reddit, Conservative already changed their image to Donald Trump. And it's probably because some of the mods must be pro-Trump, because a lot of people in Conservative seem to hate Donald Trump. So you had this, like, massively upvoted 7,000 Donald Trump mugshot, and the quote is, "Dems basically just gave away the election. Don will be more popular than ever, and he'll soar even higher in the polls. Forgive the Dems, for they not know what they do." A lot of people just being like pretty supportive in the comments. But what I found funny is 4 days ago on the same subreddit, a like very upvoted post was a GOP senator, "I'll vote for Trump if he wins the primary, but he should drop out because he'll lose to Biden." Most of the comments are against Trump, so Trump's ceiling is basically hovering around 46%. With 54 saying that they would not vote for him under any circumstances. He's going to have to bank on low voter turnout by the Dems to win. Nobody drives up Dem turnout like Trump. Exactly. He's got to get at least 48% of the vote to even have a competitive chance. Trump is the best candidate the Democrats ever faced. Nothing drives Dem voter turnout like he does. This is obvious to everyone that can objectively judge the election. Trump is a cancer. He has a really strong, solid base, but essentially no support beyond that. He's the one candidate that people openly vote against. Him leading the ticket is a guaranteed GOP loss. So many moderates and even conservatives simply won't vote for him, and his name and face alone generate motivation for the left to come out in droves against him. He's not wrong. Trump couldn't beat him when he had the incumbent advantage. Why does anyone think he'll beat him the second time without it? He will lose the general election. I voted for him twice, but he's too tainted. The best bet for conservatives is to push together behind one candidate to get him or her elected. That person needs to immediately pardon Trump and move on to actually fixing our country. So yeah, although that subreddit is like insanely far right anyway, it does appear that they don't like Donald Trump because he's not going to win, they feel like. And although Donald Trump is insanely popular with conservatives and Republican Party members, I've seen polling, the matchup between Biden and other GOP candidates, DeSantis beats Biden in a general election. Donald Trump in a lot of his polls doesn't. And what they see is DeSantis is essentially Donald Trump anyway, just without the baggage, so let's get him in. That's why the Daily Wire love DeSantis, because he's less tainted, he's less crazy, although he is very eccentric and weird in his own way. So yeah, conservatives aren't as happy about this as they may seem. Yeah, sure, the Trump cultists love it. Do all conservatives love it? I'm not so sure. And it seems like Ben Shapiro is very much tiptoeing around this because he very much wants Ron DeSantis to win. He was retweeting polls today on his Twitter of Ron DeSantis being the frontrunner again in some polls. But if I go to the Trump subreddit, it's completely different with the mugshot. Someone saying, if real, he looks pissed. And if you read The Art of the Deal, you know revenge is coming. But Donald Trump didn't write that book. Donald Trump had a ghostwriter write that book who spoke about how much he doesn't like Donald Trump. Trump's favorite book is The Art of War by Sun Tzu. Trump has never read that book. I'm sorry to break it to you. The Art of War by Sun Tzu is just a book that crypto bros and grindset bros say you should read, but they've either never read it or they don't even understand it. That's the same look he will have when all these corrupt lefties are prosecuted for treason and corruption. That's the pose they need to use for his spot on Mount Rushmore. The face of a president, thank you for hanging tough for all of us. So yeah, there really is no helping these Trump supporters at this point. Like, I showed you some more rational conservatives. I showed you someone like Ben Shapiro. He doesn't like Donald Trump and clearly wants to say, let's get rid of him, but can't because of audience capture. And then I showed you the Trump cultists who think this is the best thing ever. And, you know, It is a cult at this point, because there's no way any rational person can look at everything Donald Trump's done in his career and still come away thinking, he's great. He's the one for me. He's not corrupt. Every accusation they make at everyone else is projection on their part. Donald Trump is a criminal, career criminal. He literally has acted like a mob boss his whole life, broken so many laws. The only redeeming thing about Donald Trump is he's pretty funny. I was watching some of that Tucker Carlson interview. The way he speaks is just like, even like a parody of himself at this point. Like, it's so bizarre. Now, I started this video talking about like how I feel about Donald Trump, like personally. And when I was younger, when he first became president, like I really personally hated him. Like I thought, oh my God, such a terrible guy. As the years get on, you just realize like Donald Trump is not some unique evil. And I always thought this anyway, but just like how insane he's gotten, it's like he's, you know, the system allows him to be like this. No one holds him accountable. Conservatives allow him to be like this because they'll never say anything bad about him because of the rabid cult following he has. So they let him do this. And the main bad thing about Donald Trump overall is how he degrades political discourse. I'm not one for civility politics, but it's very clear in British politics, for example, there is the pre-Trump era and there's the post-Trump era. There is the far-right populist era that the Tories have actually been using themselves in this country. And I feel like we've gotten worse as a result. Like all these conspiracy theories, all just this garbage from America has been imported to the UK because of Donald Trump. And that's what I hate him for the most. And yes, while it is nice to see a very powerful person have to have an embarrassing mugshot, it's not something that's going to keep happening. And Donald Trump shows you that you can push everything to its limits. And if you have enough money, there still isn't real repercussions. Like I was reading some analysis today, lots of people saying it's likely, even if he's found guilty in a lot of things, he probably won't go to prison. Like, although it could happen, he probably won't. It's a two-tier justice system. In a country like America, which has legalized slavery for prisoners, right? All those prisoners paid like $1 a day to fight wildfires in California, and then won't even get employed as firefighters once they leave prison. All these people doing crazy prison labor for either no pay or little pay. Basically, this whole for-profit private prison system, which incentivizes different sections of the police to imprison marginalized people to make them into free prison labor. And in that country, the only really powerful person who is seeing any semblance of consequences is a guy who's just so brazen in his criminality. And even then, because he's so wealthy, I don't think he's going to see the inside of a jail cell, and he could still even become president, despite everything he's done. So, yeah, just to end it on that. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments, and if you made it this far, thank you for watching.